Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Regular Beer Reviews, where regular doesn't refer to the beers being reviewed, but to the reviewer, myself. I'm Jesse, and I'm about to review a beer I've never had before. This is another one from the Cisco Brewers of Nantucket. This is their India Pale Ale. I didn't think that was a really creative name, but who am I to say? Yeah. Maybe the beer speaks for itself, So, anyway, let's look at the numbers on this. Beer Advocate gives it an 83, which is good, and that's with 370 ratings. Rate Beer gives it an 86 overall with a 66 for the style, and the Bros give it a 90, which is outstanding. It has an ABV of 6.5%. The availability is rotating. The style obviously is an American IPA. I'm not really sure what the IBUs are on that, but obviously, if you didn't know, Cisco Brewers of Nantucket is out of Nantucket, Massachusetts. So I'm going to read the description that it has on the bottle here. It says, "Finally, an American IPA from us. This beautiful red-orange ale has a full malty body balanced by a fruity apricot grapefruit nose. Mounds of dank summit hops in the whirlpool and dry hop additions provide a delicious finish to this East meets West Coast ale. We welcome your questions and comments," and I like how they have the number right on the bottle, so if any questions or comments you may have, you can call, and if you like it, you can call and rave about it. If you don't like it, you can call and bitch about it. So I do like that. So let's go ahead and get this IPA poured. Oh yeah, that's a nice dark one. Alright. A lot of particulates in there, a lot of things floating around, little bits of yeast and hops. This is completely opaque. I can't really see through it at all. It's a nice, I'd say light brown, very dark amber, dark amber color. I guess maybe it's a little more of a medium amber color. It's like a dark ruby red. Kind of getting orangish tints around the glass. Not really any head at all. There wasn't really one at all when I poured it, but just kind of a frothy ring around the top. Carbonation looks very light. But yeah, a lot of stuff floating. You can't really see it, but I mean there is a ton of stuff floating around in there. So let's go ahead and get a nose on this. Oh wow. I can smell the malts right up front actually. Very caramely, toffee, a little bit yeasty. Full bodied, no doubt about that. Hops are kind of in the background there. Sweet, a little sweeter. They are kind of fruity, very floral. It smells a little drier though, actually, for being sweeter and more fruity on the nose. It does smell like it might be a little drier. And the bitterness isn't super prevalent in the nose, but let's go ahead and jump into this. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Right up front, you get a little bit of malt, a little bit, and then you get hit with the hops. The hops are floral, kind of. Actually, they're more piney on the flavor. Not really smelling any pine in the nose, but very piney in the flavor. This is a little more dry, just like I thought from the aroma. It's a little more dry. Very full body though, kind of a thick mouthfeel for an IPA. That might have a lot to do with all the particulates and stuff floating around in there. A little bit of sweetness. A little bit of sweetness. But yeah, the malts up front, very slight, but a little caramely, caramel, toffee. Usual malts for that you would taste in an IPA. Not like it's not like super flavorful. I'm not sure what the IBUs are on this but I would guess they're probably not more than 55 maybe. A nice bitterness in the background, but it's not a super bitter beer. The flavor of the hops is nice though. Piney, dry, a little oily. Mm. I mean, this is actually really enjoyable actually for an IPA. Um, I, I gotta say, this isn't my favorite IPA, but I gotta say, I like it. I'm digging it. There's something about it. Um, Again, not super flavorful. It's not super bitter, but the flavor of the hops in the background is very nice. It says East Coast meets West Coast, and it really is. I mean, it's on the flavor. It's more piney, a little more oily and dry, but it's definitely more. It's got that nice floral smell to it, and I gotta say I do really like that. And a little bit of floralness, a little bit of a floral taste, but it's pretty well balanced, I think, too. Even though the hops at the end are definitely uh, not quite as big as I would want them to be, and the malts at the beginning are a little lighter than I would. I don't know. I guess in that sense, it's very well balanced. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but um, it's mild. It's very mild. But it's still at the same time, though it's mild, it has a nice complexity to it, and there is a lot of flavor there. Like the hops aren't quite as bitter as I would want them to be, but the flavor that's there is nice. And the malts, usually I like the malts to be, because the malts in this, I mean, a little tiny bit at the beginning, little bit, and then rolls into the hops. Um, but because the bitterness isn't super substantial, it allows the hops to really be the star of this beer. Um, Without, I mean, the malt can, it's just a slight bit of the hops can still be the star of the beer, but without completely overpowering the beer. Because if I have an IPA or something, all you taste is hops, all you get is bitterness. There's no malt profile, there's no other flavors or anything. Then it's unbalanced and it's not that good. But this, even though there's a slight malt profile at the front, just a little bit of one, the hops in the background aren't super bitter, so you can really enjoy the flavor of the hops. And I don't know, it balances well. I'm totally digging this beer. I think I'm gonna give. You know what? I said India Pale Ale. I just noticed it's Indie Pale Ale. So I guess the name is kind of creative because it does say Indie. I was thinking it said India, but I'm gonna give Indie Pale Ale from Cisco Brewers of Nantucket. I'm gonna give this beer I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I like this beer. That's a B from me. This is a pretty damn good IPA. I really like it. Very enjoyable. At 6.5%, it's not super sessionable. I mean, you do have to be a little more careful with it. But this is a good beer. I'm liking this beer. Yeah, so anyway, once again, 8 out of 10 for Indie Pale Ale. I only just realized that as I picked up the bottle a second ago. Indie Pale Ale from the Cisco Brewers of Nantucket. I think it's a damn good IPA. I think it's a good beer. It's not the best IPA I've ever had by any means, but it's a pretty damn good example. And I think it's a great example of not necessarily a West Coast IPA. It's not necessarily an East Coast IPA, but as it says in the description there, it's East meets West. And I've had other IPAs. They say, oh yeah, it's the best merging of both coasts, but then you have it, and it's either one or the other. It's not like a really great merging of the two styles, and I think this really is. This is, excuse me, I can really taste attributes of both styles in it, and I really like that. So once again, 8 out of 10 for Indie Pale Ale from the Cisco Brewers of Nantucket. I think it's a good beer. I like it. I think you will too. Thank you for watching, and keep watching again in the future for more reviews. Post. Excuse me.